Hello and everyone, this is Tamal Mukherjee once again. And as you all know that on this 1st of April 2023, we are going to have Strees of Excellence Award being sponsored by Winning Stree. And Literoma this time is a proud partner of this particular event. And here, as a part of that particular event, we have some of the winners being interviewed in our YouTube channel and in our radio station as well. We have the winner from the category of Strees of Excellence in the medical segment. We have Dr. Urvashi Tandon. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome to this particular episode.
Thank you, Tamal. Thank you so much.
Congratulations to begin with for winning this award this year. To start with, so as you all know, just to give a quick context to everyone, as you all know that this award is given to all the ladies who had done fantastically well, not just in one segment of their core profession, but also in multiple segments. Because when you are talking about modern day life, it's all about balancing. It's all about wearing different hats. And here we celebrate all those, especially all those women who have done that successfully. And I personally don't know too many women who had done that better than Dr. Urvashi Tandon. So, ma'am, to begin with, you had been, of course, the first two letters which I am using says it. You are a medico. So, say everyone will like to know a few things about your medical journey to begin with.
Thanks, Tamal, for all the kind words. But yeah, I'm a medico. I did my graduation from Bankura Medical College, and it was quite a change for me because in those days, most of Bengal was still rural. So I came from Delhi and joined the college. I couldn't speak any Bengali. I learned on the go, and but those were the best years of my life. So Bakura happened, I graduated, and then I joined the armed forces. So that's where I've lived most of my life. I grew up in the armed forces because my father was a serving officer, and I kind of maintained continuity. So I joined the Indian Navy, and I did my post-graduation while I was serving in the armed forces. So I did my anesthesiology, I did my MD anesthesia. And, you know, I think the medical profession is such, you just move from one exam to another all the time. So when the exams get over, after a while, you start feeling you're stagnating, and then you're looking for something to do because you're not used to not doing anything. So I trained after that in pediatric anesthesia from an institute in Mumbai called by Jerbai Wadia Hospital for Children. So I trained in pediatric work, and I thoroughly enjoyed dealing with children. And due to circumstances, as it would so happen, I quit the armed forces after serving for 29 years and continued to work in Gurgaon in a medical college here, then later in an eye hospital in Noida, and then gave it up because of too much of movement, since my husband is still with the defense services and keeps getting posted. And plus I have a patient at home 24/7. So I decided to look after her. And but I am a hardcore medico and a hardcore Fauji. So yes, that was my core focus of work. And Bakura was, like I said, the best time of my life.
So. Right. Absolutely. I think that college bit, a lot of people, if not everyone, will be able to relate to. Now, on that note, so it's also the fact that you had done multiple things in your life. Like one thing is, of course, writing a book, and also during your college days, like you were mentioning, one of your core passions had been something else. So why don't you say about something else, and also the writing, how that writing happened to you?
Well, there are a lot of people I know who were interested in music, and I was no different. So I used to perform in school and all, but I'd never formally trained. So there came a time when I felt I needed to follow that passion. And I remember going to, for a voice test to an institute called Bhatkande Music School in Delhi. And I was told, yeah, okay, so you come tomorrow with a fee and join up. But I went home and there was a telegram lying there for Bakura Medical College. so I chose medicine over the passion. And after a lot of, thinking, once your children grow up and you get into midlife, there's a lot of hoo-ha about midlife crisis, etc., etc. So I decided that I was not going to go the regular way. I need to keep myself busy so that I don't experience any of this that I keep hearing about. So I decided to learn music. And I started off with light music in Mumbai from Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. But later moved to Pune and I started learning taking structured classes. I did studied for about 6 years from Gandharva Mahavidyalaya, which follows Gwalior Gharana of classical music. And I completed my Visharad Pratham from there. So that was a passion which I insisted on doing along with my work. That was difficult to balance because I was also looking after an ICU and trying to do music at the same time. And I had a kid who was in class 10. So everyone would tell me, you're not giving enough time at home. So that was a kind of a balancing act to do. And yes, I did start writing at that point of time. I firmly believe that you have one life and you should live it to the fullest. So whatever interests are there should get sorted before it's too late.
Absolutely. So my question actually, I want to double down on that balancing act that you mentioned, because this is the Strees of Excellence Award, and the ultimate objective is to motivate a lot of women out there in balancing their passion and the profession, because ultimately we had seen that it takes the passion takes a backseat in case of many women. So how did you do that? What is your experience about that? How did you manage to do that? Because there are a lot of fundamental adjustment that you need to do in order to balance out things.
Yeah, so there are times that become difficult. See, in a job like mine, where one kept moving from place to place, it was a transferable job. And in addition to that, anytime somebody else went on leave, you were supposed to go and relieve that person. Say, supposing an anesthetist from some place pushed off on annual leave for a month, 2 months, you were supposed to go and cover up for that because you can't leave a hospital abandoned, right? You need to have someone. So one would leave the family and one would go and work there for whatever temporary period of duty. But to do structured classes like that initially, even I thought would have been very difficult. So, like I said, in Mumbai, when I used to go to Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan for classes, I would come home at times very late because I would come back, then go to the ICU, take my rounds. By the time I got home, there were times it was 9:30 or 10 at night. And we started work by about quarter to 8 in the morning. So there were days which were long, but that's not every day. It just depends on how much you really want to do something. Do you find time? And when one felt that it was being a strain, like I said, my son was in the 10th. I stopped going to Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, but I had a teacher coming home. So once a week, someone would come home and I would sit with my tanpura and we would do our whatever we had to do. But that was not exam oriented or anything. That was just to do passion. But somewhere within me, there was this kida that I had to give exams, I had to study. I want to do it properly. I want to really understand. So when I went to Pune, I moved there alone without the family. Now I had two options. Either I could sit and keep feeling sorry for myself that husband, son not with me. Luckily, Mumbai, Pune were not too far away. The family was in Mumbai. But how was I to occupy myself? There were weekends when I would go home. So at that point of time, I started doing this. I said I'll join a proper institute. And although I felt I was too old, probably, and what will people say? There must be small children. But I started going 3 days a week, and I found people older than me also keenly giving exams and studying. So it is what drives you. There is no limit to the age. Like I said, I found older people also. My teacher was much younger. She was probably 3 years older than my son, but she was my teacher. So, and it was fun to sit in small desks in a small classroom and give your exam. I had papers in Marathi. So I used to questions in Marathi, I used to write in Hindi. So, but like I said, you find time. It's how much you want to do. There are always excuses. There's always responsibilities. So when you really want to do something, and luckily things were reasonably supportive, and I was alone when I started. Once I got transferred, I continued with online classes. Technology has advanced so much that you can do anything today from anywhere. Look at me. I'm sitting in Gurgaon and chatting with you.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Super. So that's, I think, quite inspiring, because the Kida thing that you mentioned. So that is, I think, is a big takeaway for a lot of women out there who will be listening to this. One final question, ma'am. What will be your one single message to all your fans and followers and whoever will be watching this video or will be listening to this audio, please?
Very simple question is that there is no one in life who doesn't have problems. There are phases that come. There are good times which you don't remember as much as we remember the bad times. So they are tough times. Let me not call it bad times. They are tough times and they are relatively easy times. It is how we tend to deal with it. There's a lot of stress for various reasons. We lead fast-paced lives. We all have now. We have both partners working in any relationship. So I mean, there's who will run the home, who will not. There are pressures from your boss. Everything happens. Your children go to school. They arrive very easily, but to bring them up takes a lot of work, right? So there are pressures and there are pressures. You have family obligations. I also went through them. There's nobody who's escapes. Life is like my father used to say, we haven't come here for a jolly. Life is tough and you have to deal with it. So it depends on how you want to deal with it. You can sit and cry, in which case all your friends will also run away. Because nobody wants to sit with someone who's moping and crying and weeping all the time. So you just need to take it in your stride, be positive and deal with it. Make the most of what you have, make the most of whichever situation you're put in. And something beautiful always comes out of tough phases. See, this was not planned, but something beautiful comes out. I've started done things like this when I felt I could not write. I was having a writer's block. So I was doing crochet. I was you do so many things, but you don't want to sit and be negative. There, you need to make yourself happy. That's the best way to deal with it.
Absolutely.
That's where you help yourself and help everyone around you. So you have a better place to live in. You should have happy people around you. We all want that.
Absolutely. It's actually as simple as that. At times, during the rat race of today's world, we tend to forget the simple things, simple mantras of staying happy. So, ma'am, on that note, talking about the simple things, why don't you show the two books also, at least for our
that I've written?
Channel audience?
Pediatric trained anesthetist, no? So I was I'm also a professor of anesthesia. So I have this huge soft corner for children. And I find grown-ups don't want to listen. Even children don't want to listen anymore. But children are more open to suggestions. And considering this generation and our previous generation have nicely messed up the environment. See the amount of mounds of garbage that we create and whatever. Now we're going to have a lot of e-waste. So I thought we'd do something or sensitize children towards environmental awareness. So that was how my first book came about. That's this one, which is a collection of short stories for children 5 to 10 years of age. So lots of pictures and bits about the environment. And once I was done with that, like I said, I can't sit still. So I have to keep doing something. So then I decided to write for adolescents. Actually, I had people who worked for me when I was in the Navy who had special children. So, and since we had a transferable job, they used to be worried all the time when they had to move as to whether the other place would have a facility for their child with special needs. And I realized how much trouble they had. I also had a colleague whose kid was autistic, someone who had cerebral palsy. So these are areas of society we don't normally look at. We want to shut our eyes because we want to see everything normal. But our society comprises of everything together. And if we ignore them, we're not really going to get anywhere. So if we progress, we need to take all these people along with us. And what do we do for children with special needs? They're being bullied by their own peers. So I decided to write another book, which was on a handicapped child, of course, only a physically handicapped child called Anna, a special child. So these two books are already published. There is a third book, which is lying somewhere, baking, cooking. I don't know how long it will take to materialize. But then that, of course, is a biography. I'm used to research work as a medical professional, so I missed that for a bit. It was okay to write only fiction, but I thought I'd do a little bit of digging and hunting and research and write something. So there is something in the pipeline. So that's how I've kept my gray cells active in the brain.
Awesome. All the best for that venture as well, ma'am. I think that is also going to come up with the flying colors the way the first two had come up. Congratulations once again on being
Thank you.
recipient of this award, Strees of Excellence. Wishing you all the best.
Thank you.
I'm sure that all our audience must have enjoyed as much as I had done while talking with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tamal. And it's been lovely being associated and knowing Literoma team. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.